All right, it's 11 o'clock. Let's get started. Thank you, folks, for joining the session today. FocalCXM is super excited to unveil this new solution called B2B Rebates, primarily to streamline, simplify the rebating process for organizations globally. Next slide. In the next 30 minutes or so, myself, Adi Budavarapu, and Naren, my colleague, will walk you a couple of things. One, give you a brief background, the typical challenges that we see, an introduction to B2B rebates in terms of what we are doing, the benefits, and then we'll walk you through a demo of what the application look like. Towards the end, we are happy to take some Q&A if you have any questions. Next slide. Just to introduce the speakers a bit, I'm very happy to be here with Naren, who is my colleague, who's been working on rebates programs for a long time with multiple markets globally, with large manufacturers in the animal health space. And he has been leading this project, the B2B rebates for FocalCXM. He's been working with the team and building this product out. My name is Aditya Budavarapu. I go by Adi. I'm based out of Northern Virginia. Prior to founding FocalCXM, I was at Oracle, led a lot of enterprise software development, and co-founded FocalCXM. Very passionate about customer experiences and rebating being very important for customer loyalty. That's where the passion is. Next slide. Just to give you a brief background, rebates is something that's very important in the enterprise space and the B2C space as well. However, our knowledge as of today is more in the B2B. And we see the rebate programs in various sectors. For example, in manufacturing, when there is a manufacturer, the distributor, and the retailer, and the whole ecosystem, there are rebates going on to improve the loyalty and to help for manufacturers to help benefit the distributors. You see the same in utilities, you see it in animal health, pharma. Across every industry, the concept of rebates is pretty common. Next slide. From our experience, we have seen a number of challenges within the rebate applications over the last 7-8 years. First, rebate applications are pretty expensive. In addition to that, there are a number of data quality issues that surface because the sales data typically comes in from a CRM system. And then ultimately the checks are processed through SAP. But in the interim, every single sale record goes through a number of traverses a long journey to get to the warehouse and from where the rebates get calculated. In this journey, there is a very high propensity for data quality issues because the ETL jobs may not run as expected. The ETL jobs could fail. They may not move every single record as expected. The transformations may not be successful. For various reasons, the data quality issues exist, which makes the calculation of rebates very challenging. That's number one. Number two, compliance teams always struggle to find out why a certain customer got a specific rebate in a given month. If they want to pinpoint on a particular account and identify why a particular rebate got executed, why $200 are going to a specific account, A1, it's very difficult to find out. And that makes it a big challenge for compliance teams to really understand why rebates are given to specific customers in certain ways. So the visibility aspect of it is a pretty big challenge. The third thing is performance. Whenever there are lots of rebates, sales data coming in, they could run into hundreds, thousands, millions of records. And to process every single rebate at an account level, at a customer level, when the volume increases, typically we see that there are a lot of challenges. Finally, the complexity is also very important because certain markets, certain products, the rebating rules are very simple. No problem there. Any enterprise software can do. But however, as the demands change, as the rules change, there are so many types of rules that could come up, either because from a business consulting perspective or from a business learning internally. When this complexity arises, it's extremely important to be able to handle the rules very effectively. Next slide. We typically see various rebates, whether it is volume driven because of growth, range, when there is a banding, It's important to understand that there are various types of rebates. When a new product is introduced into the market, that may need a different set of rules to be applied on every single sale record. Similarly, the conditions and fixed rebates for a given product, you may want to give a specific rebate. And many more. Again, like I said earlier, because of the challenges which exist in the market, there are many more factors, and you need a rebating system that's extremely flexible, that can handle all these complexities and yet give the flexibility to be able to run in whatever format, wherever the data comes from, and be able to synchronize the data back into the CRM systems so that the CRM stakeholders have visibility into what's happening at an account level. Same thing with the compliance teams. They have visibility into how these particular rebate programs have been applied to individual accounts. Next slide. So what we have been doing with a lot of learning over the last 7 years is we've come up with a rebate program that is very simple to use, that is very comprehensive in terms of getting data, ingesting data from multiple sources, in terms of digesting it, in terms of crunching the numbers, calculating the rebates. That is one. Second thing is, what we observe is most of the stakeholders on the CRM front are on the Salesforce platform. And we have been trying to minimize the number of data movements across all these systems so that the users who exist in the Salesforce platform today can continue to use the CRM system. They will be able to initiate the rebate calculations from there. They'll be able to execute the rebate calculations from there. They'll be able to understand the account level performance for every single rebate program. Finally, well integrated and highly configurable. As I mentioned earlier, configuration is a very big deal. The rules are very complex. They can get very complex depending upon either the product or the market or other factors. And it's important to be able to have this kind of a configurable system. And the first step that we've taken is to build it as an independent entity for the calculations. However, it is pretty tightly coupled with the Salesforce platform. Next slide, please. So there are a couple of rebate features that we have delivered over the first version of this particular software. As you can see, there is contract management, which initiates from a sales rep's perspective in terms of creating a new contract, getting it through the approvals, predefining rules from a rebate administrator perspective. There are various personas that come into play: the market administrators, the rebate administrators, sales reps, sales leadership, accounting, or finance, depending upon whoever is executing it. So with V1, we delivered a minimum viable product to be able to execute the rebates, and we are super delighted about it. And the main components of this particular solution are, one, Salesforce, where most of the account data, the sales data resides. And then AWS is where we are using as our cloud partner to be able to deliver the solution so that we are able to leverage the serverless capabilities such as Fargate, such as AWS Lambdas, to minimize the costs. Our intent is to make it affordable for every organization across the globe. They should be able to make it very configurable. And we believe that the combination of rules engines, which is open rules, on top of the AWS serverless, will give that level of flexibility, configurability, and affordability for any organization. Next slide. From a benefit standpoint, in addition to making it affordable, we also want to make sure that there is better governance. So compliance teams should be able to handle that in a very easy way. They should have the visibility, as I mentioned before, to be able to get into every single account and understand the rebate programs which happen, why a particular customer got a certain amount in a given month, both in the past, and what they can project it in the near future as well. Second, faster calculations. Performance, we have learned, is a very important thing. We started off leveraging the Fargate, AWS Fargate infrastructure, which is extremely powerful. And in the future versions, we will be moving to Apache Spark or EMR on AWS to cut down the cost further and to improve the performance. That way, whenever the rebate numbers have to be calculated, it is only at that point of time we initiate the compute. And the compute doesn't have to run all through the time. So there's no database that runs all through. There's no compute power that is being wasted, but we initiate and end the calculations whenever the business needs. 3, more flexibility. As I mentioned, open rules brings in a lot more flexibility. It's a JSR compliant rules engine. So we are super excited. We've been using it for a long time and have been using it for extremely complex use cases, and rules is phenomenally powerful in executing those rules. Finally, better ROI. I'm not talking about just the cost of the software itself, but I'm also referring to the cost of maintenance for any software over a period of time. If you look at the operational cost, it should be affordable for, again, every market. So that way, how do we make whether the cost of data, bad data, the cost of maintaining the software, the cost of engineering teams running and maintaining this rebating software, we are trying to make it affordable for every single one and cut down wherever we don't need any additional cost. So these are a few of the benefits that we expect to see in our customers when we go live with our customers very soon using this B2B rebate software. Next slide. Now I'll hand over to Naren, who's my colleague, who will walk you through what the Salesforce application looks like and the combination of Salesforce, AWS, and the rules engine, how they kick in to enable this particular rebate processing. In this version, we don't have a direct integration with SAP yet, but that is in the pipelines, and you will see that very soon as well. With that, over to you, Naren.
Yeah, thank you very much, Hadi. Thanks for this opportunity. Yeah, so just yeah, I would like to represent a company called Petclo. So I am currently I'm being acting as a rebate administrator. So in order to onboard a country, the initial step, as a rebate administrator, I have to create different types of rule types. So let me just try to log in as a rebate administrator into the Salesforce environment. Yeah, so there was a basic requirement from Petglow company that they have launched good number of products like this year. So these are the products which are associated with Petglow company and which are belonging to companion animal business unit. Yeah, let me just try to create a rule. I'm just clicking on new button, enter the rule name, product fixed, and select the rule type. So based on the rule type, the conditions of the rules would change. So basically, in order to pay rebates to any customer, it is very important for us to see what are the different conditions that are involved in a rule. So if I select product fixed rebate, so based on the rule type, which is already defined by the system administrator, so it will display the line item details. So where, as a rebate administrator, for which product that I want to give the rebate, that I can select here. And what is the type? Either I want to pay them as a percentage, or I can pay as a price as well. If it is a percentage, then let me just add it 2% of the rebate. Then click on save. Sorry. Yeah, select the business unit. I'm creating a rule for companion animal. Save it. Yeah. Similarly, now I have created a rule for product fixed rebate. I can also create promotional rebate. The conditions would look like this. If the sales date period is falling between the start date and end date, the range, and then if a customer purchases Pet Shield, then he will get 10% rebate. Or if the same customer purchases Pet Shield 200 ml, then the 3% rebate would be applied on the total sales amount, whatever the customer has purchased. And we also have band tier rebate. So the rebates are paid based on the threshold. So min value and the max value. If the customer sales amount is like falling in between the threshold, then automatically like he will get the rebate based on the value added here. So after creating a rule, as a rebate administrator, I need to group them into a schema. Let me just like click on new. Yeah, let me select like business unit as companion animal. Yeah, after like selecting the business unit, it will display all the rules like which are associated with companion animal. I select the schema type, whether it's a part of like standard schema or special schema. I can select like one or more rules, then click on save. Yeah, now as a rebate administrator, like my job, my primary job is to set up schemas, like which is a combination of rules, so that my sales rep can contact the customer. He can go to the customers. He can explain like what are the different products that I have, and what kind of rebates that he can get. So now I'll like after confirming the agreement with the customer, as a sales rep, like I need to create a contract for the customer. Let me just like click on contracts. Yeah. Now I have to select an account. So choose the business unit. I would like to like create a contract for companion animals. Then click on create contract button. Now automatically it will display the account details and contact details. So contact details are like very important for a contract, like who will be the part of signatory, and which contact has to receive the email statements. So I'm just like selecting, as we have like only single contact here, I would like to select like both the options to this contact. So I select the contract start date like from 1st of May, and contract terms, let me just give it as like 36. It will automatically like capture the contract end date. Then click on next. Now it will display the available rules based on the business unit selected. So when a rebate administrator like created the rules and schemas, I think, sorry, those rules and schemas will be like displayed here. Let me like select schemas. Yeah, this is the recent schema like which rebate admin has created. Click on next. Yeah, this is the preview page, like where I can see the details of the contract, and then click on save contract. Yeah, once the contract is saved, as a sales rep, I can submit this contract for the approval. Let me click on like submit for approval. I'll just add few comments and click on submit. Yeah, once the contract is like submitted for approval, the manager of the sales rep, the user like which I have logged in, his manager will be like able to approve this contract. So if I go to this profile, yeah, so Pawan is a manager for this rep. Yeah, I need to log in with this username. Let me just try to log off. And like once the contract is created, it will also like trigger an email where I can also Yeah, let me just try to open that to my inbox. Yeah, so this is the email request which came in. You can also like click on that link and I can approve from here. So, just a minute. Yeah, let me try to log in. Okay, so here I can see a notification which is giving me an alert that I have some action to be performed. So here is a request for approval for a contract. I click on this notification and I can go through the contract details. If yeah, then I click on like approve button. So multiple actions like I can perform here. Either I can approve it or I can reject this contract. Just like trying to approve a contract. Yeah, now the contract has been approved. So once the contract is like in place, and if we have like enough sales data for the customer, now rebate administrator job is to simulate the rebates. And after verifying the simulation results, he can also like calculate the rebates. I try to like log in as a rebate administrator. Yeah, click on rebate logs tab. Yeah, these are the files like which are generated previously. And in order to generate a new log file, I need to like click on new, select the service type. I want either like I want to simulate the rebates or I want to calculate the rebates. So here simulations like can be performed n number of times. And once the calculations are done, I think I cannot simulate the rebates. Let me select the service type as simulations, and I would like to like simulate for the month of May. Yeah, we have like different calculations frequency. I would like to go with monthly calculation frequency for this time. Yeah. After like clicking on this initiate button, it will like Salesforce will send a request to the AWS. So in the background, as it is a serverless architecture, the rules engine will gather the required data and it will simulate the rebates. So after like the simulations are completed, the user would be like notified by an email. So this user, I think the rebate administrator through which like I have logged in, basically like he will receive an email, and after we receive an email, automatically the log file would be like generated and stored in this location. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna take like few seconds more. Yeah, the file has been like generated now. You can see the latest record with the simulations monthly for the month of May. And let me just click again, download. Yeah, so I have simulated for the month of May, and these are the two customers like who are eligible to get the rebates. So we have like different sheets which are added into this log file, which gives us like a brief rebate information by customer, and we also have like by brand on each brand, like how much rebates are like applied, and similar like we also have SKU level information. So with this data, I think at a deeper level, customer can do an analysis like how much sales data that they acquired at a SKU level and what is the rebate that is applied to a customer.
Thank you, Naren. So just to wrap it up, this is how we've simplified the overall process and made it easier for sales reps, sales leadership, and the finance team to be able to drill down and understand. All the data is available in the Salesforce once the calculations are done as well. And in the next version, we'll be implementing more reporting, more capabilities around the contract management. But we are here to say that we have a version 1 that is ready. My team is ready for it to be applicable in the real field. This has been tested over and over again in terms of the functionality. We're super excited. We're happy to take any questions that you may have. All right. With that, we're about at 11:30. Thank you very much for your time. We're happy to take any questions. You can also reach out to us at contact@FocalCXM.com for any additional queries, or if you want to do a pilot to understand more. Thank you.
Thanks all. Thanks for your time. Thank you very much.
Thanks.